Welcome, welcome. Peak Performance Secret starts right now. My name is Kamoye Benjamin. Welcome. There is more. And I encourage you, let's go for more. Let's manifest our brilliance to create more, whatever more represents for us. The purpose of this show is to share with you an insight, an idea, an awareness, wisdom that will cause you to deploy yourself at the optimum mindset and skill set required in order for you to create more impact, more income, more clarity, more awareness, more decisiveness. Hey, whatever more represents for you, I am in service of that. And in today's Peak Performance Lunch and Learn, we're going to be talking about this idea of thriving at your own terms. And specifically, the question that I would like for us to answer: should we really be focusing on work-life balance or harmony? If you are at a place in your life where it feels like holding family and faith and work and finances and relationships just feels like it's impossible and one of those balls has to fall, this is for you. I'd like for you to answer this question: how can I thrive at my own terms? And today I'll be sharing with you one of the peak performance strategies that has helped me to thrive at my own times. The idea of thriving always evokes this idea that, I've got to have all my bases covered. I've got to be at the top of the mountain. I need to have no problems. I need to have lots of money so that I can have no one bothering me, and I step in and do the work that's required of me. I command my time. I'm in charge of, and it feels like this ideal place that you ought to get to so that you can say that you are thriving. If my story is anything to go by, that is farthest from the truth. Here's what I know. In the creation process, we've got to define what outcome we want. We've got to define what we want. And in my coaching journey, as I look at my own journey, there are many times that I wanted to thrive, but honestly, I didn't have a blueprint. I didn't have a roadmap for how I'm going to thrive. I wanted to thrive so bad, but if you stopped me in the middle of the street and asked me, Benjamin, what does thriving in your family look like? I would give you some fuzzy answer that I just made up in the moment that was just good enough for that moment, but it was not sufficient to really, demonstrate confidence and clarity in what exactly I want. In my finances, I knew that I wanted to thrive in my finances, but I didn't know what that number is. I didn't know what it was. And so the first step in us talking about thriving and what does it mean to thrive? Thriving is a term that generally means to prosper in every way, to grow, to flourish in a positive and a healthy way. That's what we mean by thriving. It implies this state of success and abundance in your faith, in your family, in your fitness, in your finances, in your fulfilling work, in all these domains of life that you touch on a daily basis. Where you as an individual or whatever an entity, you're not just surviving, you're not just going through the motions, but you're experiencing growth and prosperity. It is possible to thrive. I believe it is your birthright. Just in the same way as when you look at nature, nature is thriving. Nature is not, apart from when man is interfering with nature, nature does not need your permission to flourish. Nature does not need your permission to thrive. In the environment that you find man has not interfered, nature is thriving. The seas are teeming with fish. The forests are bustling with lives, and there's green stuff growing there. The wild animals, they are in their environment and they are thriving in every way. And so how can we get to that place where, whether it's our personal well-being, our businesses, our communities, our ecosystems, they are thriving? And when we're talking about thriving, it almost feels like I need to choose this and I need to leave the other. No, I talk about thriving in your faith. Do you know what that looks like? In your fitness, what does that body and sound mind look like? In your family, what is the vibrancy of the relationships? What quality? And fulfilling work, what exactly does that mean? Living out your purpose. And finances, how much money is that you would say, you know what, I'm thriving and I'm winning at the highest level possible? You see, it's not possible to thrive You haven't defined what thriving is. And that's why most people are struggling to thrive, because they haven't defined thriving. And whatever life they're living it not at their own terms, but at the terms of someone else. Someone else has defined what thriving looks like, and they've invited you into that plan and process. And if you're going to do anything, you're going to do it at their terms and not at your terms. And as I work with organizations and with companies, that we're helping them to create a culture where people bring their best to work, one of the most fundamental things that we do is to invite people to the conversation of, wait, what's in it for me in this work that I do? What does thriving here look like? I don't think anybody wakes up to go to work desiring or planning to fail and to make the highest number of mistakes and break their personal record. No. But there are things that hold us back from thriving. And I want us to really expand and talk about this idea of, how do we thrive? How do we thrive at our own terms? I've developed a blueprint that can help you take this deep and personalize it for yourself. The 15-minute teaching session that I have here today will not, purport to give you all the answers, but it will trigger an insight, an awareness, an aha that will take you down the path of, creating a blueprint, which I call for me a 5-domain blueprint. Life has got so many facets, but I do believe that there are 5 we must touch every day. And I've just talked about them: your faith, your fitness, your family, fulfilling work, and finances. And you need to have an idea of what thriving in all those 5 dimensions looks like. Now, back to the question of the day: thriving at your own terms. Is it about balance or harmony? You've heard the terminology a lot. Let's find a work-life balance. That's the idea of thriving. No. Sometimes when you think about balance means that, I've got to hold everything in this fair tension and nothing should fall off. There's nothing as difficult as that. And that's why most people are not thriving in life, because they're pursuing balance. Instead, they should be pursuing harmony. And so the first big message is, if you're going to thrive at your own terms, number 1, we've talked about, you've got to define what winning looks like. And then number 2, don't pursue balance, pursue harmony. Don't try and chase balance. Balance is impossible. Balance implies that I've got work on this side and I've got life on this side, and I just need to make sure that nothing happens right here. There shouldn't be this guy moving too far this side or too far this side, because guess what? Work is gonna take over and life is gonna fall. Or moving on this side, and guess what? Life is gonna take over and work is gonna fall. Just imagine the dynamic tension that this puts you in. And for most people, they're not thriving because it's at another person's terms. I was not thriving because I had cut my cloth based on somebody else's time and treasure. I'd taken my time and I had mortgaged it, and I said, here's my time, here is my talent, I want treasure in return. And here is what they said: okay, as I take your time and as I take your talent, for this treasure on the counter, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really difficult to thrive in that space. And unless you're operating at the level of conscious awareness where you're able to enter that conversation and negotiate for what works for you, and for you to negotiate what works for you, you need to know what you want and what thriving in each of these 5 domain areas of your life looks like. So you're like, what, my Sundays are about this. My Saturdays, here's what I do. My Fridays, my Mondays, my Tuesdays, my Wednesdays. This is the time that I'm going to give you in exchange for this, so that your fulfilling work does not spill over into other areas of your life. And yet we try to make sure that my life is happening and work is happening simultaneously. Wrong. If anything, impossible. And if you manage to do it, you're going to be stressed in the process. And that is not included in the definition of thriving. Balance implies that we need to hold these 2 things, and there shouldn't be an excess in any way, even by 1 point in one direction. You remember when we were growing up and our parents would send us to the shop to go and buy sugar, rice, or some grains. And the shopkeeper had got this, thing he would scoop and put it in a in a paper, and is trying to measure 2 kgs of sugar, and he's got on this other side 2 kgs. And you know that the balance, the scales have to get to a place where at the beginning the weight of the 2 kgs is down, and he needs to put enough sugar on this side to balance out, and that gives you an understanding of what 2 kgs looks like. If the 2 kgs goes beyond, he's going to scoop some more. Imagine living your life like that. Oh, I spend X number of hours with my children. I spend X number of hours at work. I need to spend X number of hours at... That is not a blueprint for thriving. Rather, a blueprint for thriving requires that we understand the 24 hours in a day. And in those 24 hours, I want to represent them using something like a cake. If this cake here represents the 24 hours in your day, the 24 hours in your day, all right? Balance means that I need to cut equal slices for each and everything that I need done in my life. I need to cut equal pieces. I need to have a piece for family. I need to have a piece for faith. I need to have a piece for fitness. I need to have an equal balance piece for family, fulfilling work, fun, fruitfulness, freedom, whatever that may be. And you and I know that that is not possible. That is not possible in your day. And so in order for us to achieve balance, you know, we fix our life in such a way that if you just hit one of these pieces, if you just move one of these pieces, everything else just comes tumbling onto the ground. No wonder we are so stressed. No wonder we are so unhealthy. No wonder we are so unfulfilled. No wonder we are so angry. We're so on the edge. Because we're pursuing balance and not harmony. But when we talk about harmony, look at this image. Harmony speaks to combinations that create a pleasing effect. Harmony speaks to combinations that create a pleasing effect. And so if you're thinking about what does harmony in my day look like? Harmony in your day is still the same 24 hours, and being able to flow in and out of the different domains of life in a way that lives up to your highest good, in a way that captures your mental model of what perfection looks like. When you have this picture of what your ideal day would look like, in a way that touches your relationship with God, that's your faith. It touches on your relationships at home, with your family, and at work. It touches on your fitness, your body temple. You're going to eat anyway at some point during the day. You're going to take care of your health. That's your fitness. You're going to have to take care of your mind. That's your fitness. You're going to have to read and grow and personally develop yourself. That's your fitness. You'll make money. You'll spend money. That's your finances. And more importantly, the fulfilling work, which takes a big part of your day. And thinking about how do I flow in and out of these spaces in my life. As opposed to seeking balance, if you pursue harmony, what you're doing is you're creating the combinations that create a pleasing effect, that are thriving. When I'm in my faith and my time with God, I'm thriving in that time. And then I'm going to flow into fitness and I'll thrive in that time. And then I'll go and connect with family and I'll thrive in that time. And it doesn't have to be, 45 block chunks of each of them so that you feel that you're balancing everything. They don't need to be balanced. What they need harmony. That on a certain day, you're going to take more time in a certain domain because that's what's needed at that time. And so when we're talking about thriving at your own terms, one of the most important things I see about people who thrive at their own times, for me, who is thriving on my own terms, it's to define what one, thriving looks like, and then number two, making sure that I design my day, I design my week in such a way that harmony is what allows me to glide in and out of my life. You see, there are days you're going to be bumped off the trail, off the track by aspects of life that will come up. I get it. happens to the best of us from time to time, happens to me. But the best thing about having a roadmap is that it doesn't matter how much you veer off into the bush, into the wilderness, you always know how many degrees off you are and what you need to do to come back, to get on the track, to get on the road that leads you to the direction of thriving in the areas of your life. And if you've not defined what thriving looks like in the 5 domain areas of your life, I'm inviting you to join my Peak Performance Mentorship Program. Head out to catalyst.ke. And once you head out to catalyst.ke, you're going to have an opportunity to hold your spot. Hold your spot and begin a conversation with me to thrive at home, to thrive at work, and to thrive at society. Because I believe strongly that thriving ought to be at your terms. Step into the conversation of defining what your terms for thriving are as you engage as you engage your mental faculties to create what you want. Don't be creating from what you don't want. Create what you want. Create what you know is possible. And that is where thriving begins, at your own terms. Don't pursue balance, pursue harmony. And it doesn't have to be all domains at once. Pick one domain at a time. And that's what I guide you in the mentorship program, to put in one at a time. And over the next 90 days, begin to see what thriving looks like. I want you to type in the comments an idea that you've taken away, that has spoken to you, that resonates with you. I'd love to hear what is landing for you. Until tomorrow, during another session of Peak Performance Secrets, be well. Bye for now.